Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today's video is going to be a little bit different. Today I'm sharing my top 10 things that nobody tells you before becoming a mom. I'm making today's video for any new moms out there, and then also I would love for any moms who already have kids to watch this too and to see how much you relate to things that I'm saying. If you guys can relate to any of these points that I hit, please comment below with what stuck with you. I'm just curious to see if you feel that way too. I'm not just going to be sharing the generic ones that you hear everybody talking about. I am going to be getting a little bit more raw and real about motherhood. If you guys follow me on my channel, you know I love to share all of the things that nobody shares on social media. I love to be extremely real with you guys, and this is why I wanted to sit down and make this video. Before I get into today's video, I do just want to briefly touch on something that isn't really talked about much on the internet, and that is postpartum depression and postpartum anxiety. And a lot of times this comes along with new motherhood. Both postpartum depression and postpartum anxiety are so real, and I want to be able to sit here and tell you guys that it's okay if you're experiencing that. I truly believe that all parents, all moms, have postpartum depression or postpartum anxiety to some degree after having their child. The grief, the fear, the isolation, the sadness, the anxiety, the daunting emotions that come along with being a new parent or a parent in general are exhausting. When you have a child, whether it's your first, second, third, whatever, your whole life is turned upside down. And of course, there are going to be rough days. There's going to be so many good days, but there's going to be rough days. It's just part of it. If you guys have been following me for a while, you know that I feel very passionate about mental health and spreading awareness. I actually went to school. I got a Bachelor of Arts in Psychology. I did not further my education, but I did go to school for psychology. I worked in the behavioral health field for a couple years prior to becoming a stay-at-home mom. I just feel like it's not talked about enough on the internet, so I really just wanted to briefly touch on this today. In today's video, I have partnered with BetterHelp, and if you guys are not familiar with what BetterHelp.com is, BetterHelp is the largest counseling platform worldwide. They make professional counseling available anytime, anywhere, and in the comfort of your own home. So the cost of BetterHelp is about $35 to $65 per week, and that is billed monthly. Where on average, if you're going to actually see a counselor in person, it costs about $75 to $125, if not more. I've been using BetterHelp for a couple weeks now, and I can honestly say, you guys, this is an awesome service. We've been through a lot in the past couple of months, years. There's a lot that I don't share with you guys here on social media, and there's a lot going on in my life. For me as a mom, it is nearly impossible to find somebody to watch my daughter and go to a counseling session once a week, if not more. It's too much work, and then I just don't even want to go, and I just think, you know what, it's easier if I just stay at home. Having this service makes it much easier to get the help that I need personally to be a better mother. There is nothing wrong with counseling. I just want to say that. There is nothing wrong with talking to somebody. I know there's always been this stereotype that goes around counseling, and if you see a counselor, you're crazy or you need help or something like that, and that is not true at all. So let me just explain my experience with BetterHelp and how it worked. So basically, I answered a bunch of questions, and then I filled out my information. You can remain anonymous. You do not have to provide your full name. You don't even have to use your real name if you'd like to remain anonymous, but you fill out all these questions, and then within 24 hours, they will connect you to a counselor who will be a good match for you. You can mark this as urgent too, so if you're needing somebody immediately, there is a faster way to get connected to somebody. So once you're connected to your counselor, there are 4 different ways you can communicate with your counselor. You can message your counselor at any time, you can chat with them live, you can do a face-to-face live encounter, so through a video conference, or you could do a phone call, a phone conference as well. All 4 of those ways to contact your counselor are all included in your membership. Doesn't cost you any extra. As a new mom, it can be quite the adjustment going from not having a child to having a child all of a sudden. Some people take to it more naturally, some people really struggle with it, and I've seen it from both sides. And this does not just have to be related towards motherhood, this could be related to all aspects of life. They do addiction, they do past trauma, marriage, really anything that you guys are struggling with. BetterHelp can help you, I guarantee it. So I'm gonna link all their information down below with a direct link to their website. So if you guys are interested, you can sign up. Also, they have a great help forum on their site as well that gives you all access to any questions or commonly asked questions that you might have that I may have not answered in this video. Anyways, let's go ahead and get started with my top 10 things that nobody told you before becoming a mom. So these are not in any certain order, whatever came to my mind, I wrote down. So the first one was, do not set any expectations when it comes to pregnancy, when it comes to your delivery, when it comes to having a newborn, whatever. Things are just going to happen that's out of your control. Personally, myself, I did not picture dealing with all of this medical stuff that we've been dealing with my daughter. I did not picture my daughter having surgery, and she did, and it happened, and it is what it is. So you just can't set expectations. The most important thing you can do is educate yourself, so when those situations arise, you know how to react and you know how to handle them the best way possible. Just don't expect anything to happen the way you plan it out. I'm a planner, so I like to plan things out. And I've really had to take a step back in order to just realize that it is what it is, and whatever's going to happen is going to happen. Throughout your pregnancy, throughout your delivery, whatever, it is very important to trust your OBGYN, to trust your midwife, trust your doctor, whatever. Trust them. Do not rely on the internet. Do not rely on books. I know so many people say read books when you get pregnant. No, don't rely on them, because you have to trust the people who are specifically working with you. And most importantly, you have to trust your gut. The mom instinct is so real, you guys. It's so real. If you feel in your gut that something isn't right, then something's probably not right. So trust your gut, trust your doctors, the people around you helping you, and don't set any expectations whatsoever. I hope nobody takes offense to any of these, because that's the last thing I'm wanting to do. But the next thing that you may not realize before becoming a mom is you might hate the newborn stage. You might not like it. As adorable and sweet and cuddly as that newborn phase can be, I struggled with it, and I'm so happy it's over. Now that doesn't mean I didn't love my sweet tiny little human. The sleepless nights, the change of routine, the crazy postpartum hormones circulating throughout your body, they are rough. It can be rough and it can wear on you, and it's an exhausting period of your life is when you have a newborn. In those moments, you feel like the days are never ending and the sleepless nights start to catch up with you, and it's just an exhausting period. And I can honestly admit that I just did not care for the newborn phase. I'm glad it's over. I thought I was going to love the newborn phase. I thought it was going to be so magical, and it just wasn't. It was tough. You guys probably don't know this, but I really struggled with getting a routine with my daughter when she was a couple weeks old. I didn't know what I was doing. She was sleeping in the mama-roo every single night. Well, she wasn't even really sleeping. The first couple of weeks were rough. I did not do well with breastfeeding. I was uneducated. It just wasn't working for us. And so it was a really tough time for me, and it just was not, it was not as enjoyable as I thought it was. Okay, so the next one I have is motherhood may not come naturally to you. And that's okay. I know I touched on this a little bit earlier. I'm thankful because motherhood did come naturally to me. I am one of the many siblings. I'm the oldest of many siblings, and so I feel like I had some of those maternal instincts from growing up with my younger siblings, but I have friends and I know people who have really struggled with the new challenges of motherhood and just adjusting to being a mom, and it's quite the adjustment, and I totally get it. I totally see where they're coming from. There is a huge emotional learning curve that comes along with being a mom, and I just want to remind you guys that it may not come naturally. It might come naturally, who knows? But either way, you might have to work at it a little bit more, and that's okay. Surround yourself with support. Make sure you have that support in place, and that's really what I can recommend if you think you might struggle with it a little bit. So the fourth one I have is you will struggle with guilt 24/7 all the time. Hashtag mom guilt. You will feel an overwhelming sense of guilt no matter what you do over anything. It can be just taking a shower. You will feel guilt. It took me about 15 months to learn that I don't have to feel like this. I don't have to feel guilty. I can do things for myself. I can take care of myself, and I don't have to feel this guilt. It took me 15 months to understand that I need to take care of myself in order to be a better parent. I want to remind you, if you're experiencing mom guilt, it does get better. It never goes away. I don't think it'll go away. My daughter's almost 2 and it still hasn't gone away, and I don't think it ever will. I don't know if you guys have older children, let me know. I don't think it's gonna go away though. In my experience, it's still there, but it's better, and I manage it better, and that anxiety from feeling the mom guilt has decreased. Speaking of hashtag mom guilt, I got another hashtag mom shaming for my 5th one. Mom shaming is real as well, and it happens a lot. It happens online, it happens from your friends, it happens from your family, it happens from random people at the grocery store. It literally can happen anywhere. And I'm going to warn you, sometimes you're going to laugh it off and you're going to be like, well, that's ridiculous. And sometimes it's really going to stick with you. It's going to bother you. You're going to have those thoughts in the back of your head next time you do something that way. It may stick with you, and that sucks, and I hate that because, like I said earlier, each parent is different, each child is different, each family is different, each way you do things in your home is different, and there is absolutely no right way. There's no right way. You figure out what works for you, and that is what you do. That's what you do. You don't have to do anything else the way somebody else does it. As long as your child is not in harm, then you do you. You do what you need to do to survive through motherhood and through raising your child. I will never forget when I was at the grocery store and my daughter had to wear a helmet because she had a flat spot on her head, and I had somebody ask me, is she wearing that because you dropped her? I think one of the biggest things that I've been mom shamed about was not breastfeeding my child. People don't understand everything that I went through and that my daughter went through and everything I tried in order to make that successful, but people just don't get it and they're so quick to judge. And at the end of the day, sometimes I just want to say, honestly, when your child is 15, 16, 17 years old, whatever, do you really think they're going to be sitting there around their friends or to their teacher and saying, well, I was breastfed? Who cares? That is best. Whatever you do with your own child is best. Like, that is what's best. Number 6 is you will lose your patience. It will happen. You will feel extremely guilty when this does happen, but it will happen. You might yell, you might cry, but just remember, it's normal. It's part of parenting. You're going to get frustrated. Doesn't mean you don't love your child if you get frustrated with them or if you don't even like them for, I don't know, the rest of the day. It's fine. You still love them. Everybody knows that. Like, this is just part of parenting. I think the important thing is when you are losing your patience, you really need to identify what helps you calm down. If you don't know what's going to help you de-escalate, then maybe that's something you should talk to a counselor about, at BetterHelp, something like that. What worked for me, and I know a lot of people have done this, but there were times when I couldn't get my daughter to stop crying. I was frustrated. I was the only one home with her. I needed a break. I needed a second. And so what I would do is I would set her down in her crib. I knew she was safe. I knew she wouldn't be hurt, and I would shut the door to her room and I would stand outside the door and I would take a breather. I would take deep breaths. I would take a second, whatever I needed to do just to quickly de-escalate myself and just calm and collect myself so I could go in and reassess the situation and figure out what to do. That works for me. I don't think that'll work for everybody, but you need to figure out what does work for you in those situations. What I did, it's okay to do. Your child can cry. It's okay to let your child cry. If you need to collect yourself, you are doing the best thing for your child, honestly. You are doing the best thing. Just as a disclaimer, I was not letting her cry for 20 minutes, 30 minutes at a time. I literally took a few minutes to stand outside her door and collect myself, and it worked. It worked for us. I love this next one. So the number 7 is, when becoming a mom, you will feel empowered. You will feel an overwhelming sense of empowerment. I see the mean things that have been said about my parenting or my daughter or myself. I see these negative things that have been commented, and what I like to do is I like to take these negative experiences and I love turning them into being something positive. I like to just encourage other moms that what you do is okay. The way you do things, it's okay. There isn't, I know I've said this so many times in the video, but if you take something from this video, take this. There is not one right way to do anything when it comes to being a mother or parenting. Along with feeling empowered when you become a mother, you're also going to instantly have this new connection with other moms. I didn't realize this until I became a mom. It's like when you meet another mom, you guys just get each other despite your differences. There's some kind of bond, like this magical bond that still exists there, and it's crazy and it's wonderful. So the 8th one I have is about your marriage. Your marriage will definitely change. And I know a lot of people say this, but I'm gonna tell you from experience, it does. I always thought that when we have a baby, that'll bring us closer together. No. Having a baby will change everything because lack of sleep, honestly. When you and your partner just are tired and exhausted and there's a lack of sleep, you're gonna bicker. There's gonna be times when you're just angry at your significant other because they say they're tired or something and you're like, seriously, you're tired? You're tired? Look at me, I'm up having to breastfeed my child every 2 hours to make sure she's gaining weight or whatever. You know, there's gonna be those times when you're you just get angry, and I think it's the lack of sleep. That's just what causes it. It's crazy what lack of sleep does to you. And even as, you know, your child gets older and they start sleeping better, it's just still different. It's different. It's not as spontaneous. You have to be a little bit more mature, I guess. You have to watch what you say in front of your child because they will start to repeat it. Trust me. And also, I think the other thing is sometimes at the end of the day when my husband gets home and I'm just exhausted and I've been talking to my toddler from morning till night, the last thing I want to do is just have a conversation. I just want peace and quiet. And that can be hard because that is the time that you really need to connect with your significant other. It just all comes down to when you have a child in your marriage, it just becomes more work. And you have to put more of an effort into your marriage. You have to put more of an effort into spending time with the other person and to really understanding the other person's needs. And I think the other thing is you really have to soak up and embrace every single moment with your significant other that you can get. Any alone time, any spontaneous moment that does arise, those are the little bonds, I think, at least in my experience, that will hold you guys together. Number 9 is you will learn to multitask like no other. Seriously, I feel like I became the queen at multitasking. It's taken some practice, don't get me wrong, but I feel like I finally have it down. I will say multitasking when having a child, it's going to create a higher sense of anxiety, and I think that's where my anxiety lands right now. I think it's sometimes I'm just going, and I don't have a second to just breathe. Most of the days from morning until night, every single spare second of the day I have, I am trying to either work on YouTube or get a shower and cook dinner or something like that. So I'm constantly utilizing every single free second of the day, or whenever my child's entertained, I'm utilizing those moments to do whatever I need to do. Sometimes I will take my makeup down on the floor if I want to put makeup on, and I'll be playing with my daughter, and then in between playing with her, I'll throw on some mascara or something like that. So it's real. The multitasking, you become really good at it, trust me. Sometimes, and I've been learning this, sometimes take it down a notch because the anxiety will just keep rising and rising and rising, and it's not healthy. Some days you just have to slow down, and I'm learning that. But yeah, just keep in mind you're going to become an excellent multitasker. So the final one I have is you will need to learn to ask for help. If you're anything like me, I don't ask for help. I figure things out myself. I Google things, I YouTube things, I learn on my own, I learn from experience. That has just always been me. I've always been like that. But I'm starting to realize I have to ask for help. If I need a break, if I need help with something, I am learning that I have to ask for help. And I know I can't be the only one like this. So especially when it comes to childcare, if you need to do something and you need help, ask somebody around you, because I guarantee they are willing to help. They just don't want to step on your toes or, you know, invade themselves too much, or I don't know, that's just what I'm figuring. I don't know that for sure, but that's kind of what I'm thinking. I think that you just need to learn to ask for help and be open with yourself and understand your breaking points and when you're just at your wit's end and you need help. Alright guys, that wraps up my top 10 things that nobody told you before becoming a mom. I really hope you guys enjoyed that. That was really fun for me to do. I honestly love talking motherhood. Do not forget to check out BetterHelp if you guys want to look at bettering your mental health or doing something for yourself. Promise you guys it's an amazing service, and I wouldn't be telling you this if I didn't try this from experience and have a good experience with it. So again, all the information will be listed down below. If you guys enjoyed this video, please make sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe if you're new. Follow me over on Instagram if you guys want to follow along with us a little bit more, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye guys.